Hello everyone, my name is Adele and welcome to Toadstool House Art. So again, we're starting off with an illustration. I did my video like that last week and I really liked it, so we're going straight in again. Now this is for my series of watercolours. This is for my new set of keyrings that I'm doing, all mushroom themed, and it's going to be a wrinkled peach mushroom. So these mushrooms are really cool. I didn't know this, but these are actually, you can find these in the UK, but they are incredibly rare because they only sort of grow on elm trees. They're like decomposing. And we have a lot less elm trees than we used to, like say 100 years ago. So they're very rare, but they are considered sort of one of the most beautiful mushrooms because they start out as this lovely sort of peach colour, and then as they grow they start out as a pink colour, and then they go into a peachy colour, and they're really cool. And on their stems they have these sort of gooey globs. Those are the spores. And yeah, I just thought this was like too cool not to draw for this series. But I was very tentative about drawing this one because it was it was difficult. It's the most detailed one of these, drawing in sort of like the wrinkly tops, trying to get that sort of like textured look that they have, because they have a very unique look. In fact, these mushrooms are so unique that they had to create a whole new category for them. They're called like rhododendrous, and this is the only mushroom in this category because it does not fit in with any other mushroom. But I had to do it. I mainly was drawn in by the colour. I really like the idea of these coloured mushrooms. So to actually paint the caps, as you saw there, I did lots and lots of very light washes, very light layers, building up those colours, making sure it looked like it did go from sort of a pink to a peachy colour. And then colouring these spores was fun because these are sort of like a very bright pop of colour. They're sort of like a much sort of deeper pink. And I added some texture to those stems, just with like little lines, just to show that there is texture to it. 'Cause this whole mushroom, honestly, is just a big combination of different textures, which is why it looks so cool. But it was very fun to do, but this one absolutely took me the longest to do. I was so scared of messing this one up because I didn't want to redo that line work. And then I was going to use some white ink for the shiny parts. Unfortunately, it had all completely dried out. Yes, thank you, pass me, it's definitely dry. So what I did is I got my Posca pen, which I would have used, but it wasn't working properly. So I pressed it until a bunch came out, and then I picked up that ink and then I painted it on. Because my Posca pen wasn't working properly, it was spluttering. If I'd have gone straight in with that, it absolutely would have ruined this piece. The ink was going everywhere. But yeah, the Posca really was the best option because it has a really nice coverage. And then sort of like one of the most satisfying parts of this, I think, apart from the painting, is going over with the inking again. So yeah, I am basically drawing all of these twice, but it really makes them pop. Especially since these are going to be shrunk down for keyrings, you sort of like need all that detail to be very well defined. So yeah, just outlining everything, and I use my two different brown, well, it's the same brown, but they're two different tip sizes. Like this one here is the smaller one, the one I use for the main but outlines the bigger one, and sort of like just giving that variation to your lines helps make your drawings look a little bit more dynamic. Using a mixture of fine lines and thick lines sort of helps show like form and weight and even a bit of shadow. But yeah, as stressful as this was, it was actually quite fun, and I'm so glad it's done, honestly. And there it is. And yeah, I really like the colours on this one. It's because it looks like a sunset, I think. Like a really pinky, peachy sunset. So yeah, I'm hoping this as a keyring looks really nice. I think it will, because it's like a nice little cluster shape. But But yeah, I think it's cute. So I wasn't going to do any voiceover for the making of this mug, but I I had to tell you something about it. So this mug has already been sent. The person has received it, loved it, and they've just left me a review today. And so you can see it says Brandon on it. I will do when it's printed. Yeah, their name isn't Brandon. They bought this mug for themselves. They saw that I had used Brandon as the sample name in my photos, decided that was so cool that they had to have a Brandon mug. And their name isn't Brandon. I thought they had bought it as a gift for someone else, because that happens a lot. But no, they just wanted a mug with Brandon on. And I don't know. I thought that was really funny, and I thought you might like to know. So yeah. So if you're out there, thank you. It's a lovely review, and it amused me very much. So Brandon is all cooled down now. I did speed up the process. If you're careful, after you've printed these, you can add a little bit of cool water in. You have to add it slowly because you don't want to shock the ceramic, although it should be fine. And then I just leave it on the side and it cools down a lot faster that way. So he's ready to be packed. To do that, I pop him back in his mug box. This one does have a crease in, but sometimes they just come like this, unfortunately. And then I'm using recycled boxes for the moment, which I know not everyone's gonna like. But at the moment, I do not sell enough mugs to justify buying a big lot of proper boxes. Because I had a mug order last week and I've got one this week. And, you know, when you're only doing one a week, it's not really... I don't want to spend out that huge amount of money to have a load of boxes just sat there. Not right now, anyway. I would like to get to the point where the mugs are selling, you know, I'm selling several a week, and then I will do it. But like I say, after Christmas, the mug sales, like, really slowed down, which is fine, because I've got a convention coming up, so I am quite busy. But yeah, I am using recycled boxes. There's nothing wrong with them, and they come with their own padding as well. They come with these foam sheets, and I found that mugs fit absolutely perfect in them, and I've never had a problem. They haven't arrived broken or anything. I'm just gonna grab a business card. So yeah, so once I've sandwiched them in between the foam, they are perfectly sturdy. Like, that's not going anywhere. This is actually probably the best packaging, and like I say, it is recycled. These are boxes that my dad gives me. He gets them from work, and like, they're just going to be thrown away anyway. So I put some tape on to cover up the design, but I realize it doesn't look great. I know. I would like to have some proper boxes and have it all cute like everyone else, but like right now it's just not feasible. Yeah. Anyway, I haven't had any complaints yet, but I would like things to look a lot more pretty. So yeah, if you receive a mysterious black box from me, I'm sorry, it's not meant to be creepy. I'm just trying to recycle. Because, you know, why not? You know, if you can recycle, why not? So yeah, unfortunately that's what it looks like. But people are just going to end up recycling it anyway, so I don't feel too bad. But yeah, one day I would like these to be a lot more pretty. I don't actually know who sent me this washi tape. I didn't buy it. It just came in the post. It was addressed to me. But yeah, it's nice. I just I didn't buy it. I think it might be from a company where they had to cancel the order for some stickers that I ordered, and I think they might have just sent this as like a sorry, but no note, no nothing. Just an envelope with a roll of washi tape in it. But it's nice. Like, it's got this really nice pattern to it. So yeah, I'm still gonna use it. So yeah, it's just weird. Cooking segment time. So right now I'm making something I haven't made in a while, which is risotto. And it's so good. So I start off with a lot of onions. I guess it's a lot. And then when they're sort of halfway through cooked, I add in a bunch of garlic. I didn't go too crazy on the garlic this time, but you definitely can, because risotto, you add in a lot of liquid, so you can add a lot of flavour in at the beginning. And then I just stir that round, and I cook those mushrooms. I cook those onions down, and pretty much until they're caramelized, because that's such a nice taste. And then I'm going to add in some risotto. I've got no preference for brand, but this is the brand I was using, and that's what it looks like. And then you just add in, and you can see there the onions are really cooked down, and they're much darker now. because I like it when the mushrooms caramelize and it gives this really nice sweet flavour. So with risotto, before I added that in, I added in some extra oil, and what you want to do is stir it round so you coat every single grain with oil, because that helps it cook. And then the next thing to do is add in your stock. So I use vegetable stock, and you don't want to pour it all in at once. You want just enough to sort of cover everything, and you really need to make sure that every grain is submerged in that water. And what you do is you sort of set it to a simmer, and as the liquid gets absorbed, you add in a bit more, let it absorb, and then add in a bit more. And you basically just keep going until it's done. And while that's cooking, you need to grate some cheese. Because this is a very simple risotto, just sort of onions and cheese. You can do lots of other things. So it's not quite cooked here, and the thing is, with adding in the cheese, you absolutely need the risotto to be cooked before you add in the cheese. Because if you add in the cheese too soon and your rice isn't fully cooked, then it I don't know how, but it sort of stops the cooking, or really slows it down. So you end up with bits of crunchy rice in there. Ugh. So you can see the difference now of how it's cooked and it's absorbed most of its liquid, and all the grains are nice and soft. And then I just add in the cheese. I add in most of it. I did save a little bit to put on top later. And then you just want to stir that through. And this is making me hungry. Oh, I'm one of those people who can't watch food without getting hungry. Oh no, close-up shot. Oh, this was so good as well. Not to give away any spoilers, but this was so nice. I'm gonna have to cook it again. It was too good. I got the onions just cooked right. They were like at the perfect stage, and there it is. I realize it doesn't look like it doesn't look very good, but I assure you this was so tasty, so nice, and I am gonna have to cook it again really, really soon. So I'm back with more mushrooms. And this time I am drawing some Mycenas mushrooms. And these are kind of like the opposite to a wrinkled peach in a way, because these have about 500 species in the genus. There are a lot of variations, and they're sort of characterized by these really thin, very delicate stems, and they kind of have like a translucent quality. And they come in all sorts of colors. And some of them even glow. They glow in the dark, which is really, really cool. But for mine, I decided to go for a pink, purple and blue colour scheme. So I did a little test on a piece of paper, see if I liked that. That isn't, it's not the most realistic, if I'm being honest. There are definitely a lot of pink and purple ones, but you don't usually get quite this much colour variation on a single cluster. So this I chose purely for the style, purely for aesthetic reasons. So for each one, I'm carefully laying down just a very, very light wash of each colour. And then the way I'm colouring these is I am dropping most of the pigment near the top, and then I'm washing all that off my brush and just using water, and that pigment is going to travel down through the water pretty much on its own. And I'm going to do that for each one. And this way of painting is quite relaxing because it's quite methodical, and if you put too much water on, you can dab it off. If you haven't put enough colour on, you just dab more on. So it's quite relaxing because it's just a way of building up those layers bit by bit until you get the sort of gradient that you want and the amount of coverage that you want. So I did that with every colour. Yeah, and I really like this colour combination. Blue, purple and pink is one of my favourites. And then I'm adding in, I realise at this point they look kind of like stripes, but they're not. They are actually the gills underneath, because Mycenas have this translucent quality. They kind of look a bit jelly-like, so you see through the tops. You can see through to the gills. So I'm using my tiny finest brush here. I think this is probably the smallest one I've got. And for these stripes, I'm using a sort of darker version of the colour of the cap, but I'm also adding in like on this blue one, I did most of the stripes in blue, then I went over with a purple. Like, it's a bit difficult to see that some of the stripes are purple, some of them are blue, but it does add in just that bit of variation. I found if I did all the stripes the same colour as the cap, it looked more flat. And I'm trying to add in more detail with this one, because this one is probably it is the simplest illustration that I've done in this series. So which makes me panic. So if I don't put in a lot of effort into something, I assume it's rubbish. So this one, after I'd finished it, I wasn't sure about it, but it has had definitely sort of grown on me in these past, it's just been sat on my desk, and I'm like, you know what, this isn't so bad. Plus, like I say, it is one of my favourite colour combos. And then for the stems, I'm starting out with more colour at the top, and then sort of blending it out towards the bottom, because I didn't want to have the sort of colours mixing at the bottom, because they can go a bit muddy. So yeah, I just keep everything light, and then just added a bit more colour where it's necessary. But yeah, these are really cool mushrooms. They're so varied. Some are edible, some are not, and about 33 different kinds of them glow in the dark. They have this bioluminescence to them, which is really cool. So like when you see those those fantasy drawings where people draw like a forest and like the mushrooms are glowing, like that is a real thing, and they're surprisingly bright if you look at some of the photos. They're really cool. I thought they were slightly underappreciated, sort of the ones that don't do that. So I wanted to do sort of my version. Like, oh look, they're still cute. So then I went around with my brown pens just to make those outlines pop. Pretty much like I usually do. I mean, these illustrations certainly do have like pretty much the same process going through, and they come out very different, I think. But this one was nice to have a relaxing one, particularly after the Wrinkled Peach. And there it is, all done. Just a nice little cluster of colourful mushrooms. I think the colours will probably come out a bit brighter on the final keyring. So yeah, I can't wait to see that, because like I say, this is one of my favourite colour combos, and I think it's probably going to be really pretty when it's done. Alright, so that's about it for this week. So some of you may have noticed I've only done 4 watercolour illustrations. There is a 5th one, and it is this. So it is a skull, and it's got mushrooms coming out of its eye socket. It's got some amanitas, it's got some mycenas at the top. The yellow ones, I can't remember what I based those on, but they are a real mushroom. And the reason I haven't shown the process of this one is because I am saving this one to do a purely tutorial video. I want to, because the way I normally show it is I do it bit by bit in the vlogs. So you will see me do the watercolour illustration, and then about 2 weeks or so later, you'll see like the finished keyring as it comes to me in the post. And I thought it might be really nice to have all of that in one video, the sort of start to finish of the illustration, how I prep the files, how I send them off, and just how I put the keyrings together and how I package them. So I just wanted it like a very linear one go, and I thought that'd be really cool to do that in just its own separate video for that reason. And so, I think it might draw a few more people to the channel, because tutorial videos tend to, because I mean, who hasn't looked up how to do something or whatever. So yeah, but that won't be for several weeks, because I don't want to put it in right after I've just done all the other illustrations, because it's not really going to be interesting then. It's a bit more of the same thing. So yeah, in a few weeks it will go up, and mostly because I just don't have time to edit that right now. I am starting con prep now, and for the next few weeks that's pretty much all my videos will be, with just me packaging and organising lots of stuff to get ready for conventions. I've got a lot of badges I want to make, and when these come back to me, hopefully that'll be in the next vlog, you'll be able to see me put those together, and I've got to come up with some packaging for them, because they will be a bit bigger than what I normally use. Like, because I usually get like 2-inch key rings, and they fit nicely onto the back of a business card. I use those as my backing cards, but these are going to be a lot bigger, so I'm going to have to sort of think what I'm going to do for them. So yeah, it's all going to be convention stuff, because for 3 weeks to a month before a con, that is my life. If it's a big con, it is my life. And it is a big con. It's the first one of the year, so I really want it to go well. I've still got things coming. I got my froggy post today. I've got some of these purses, well, handbags I suppose, that I'm going to be selling. I think I got 10 of those. So I don't go too crazy, because I don't do a lot of the big conventions, because there's only a few per year that are really big. So I don't want any sort of leftovers really in my house. It takes up a lot of room. So yeah, I think that's it for now. There will be some pins coming, not wooden pins. These are going to be something a bit special. I've got sort of 2 different kinds coming up. But yeah, no, I'm not going to spoil it. You'll have to come back. So yeah, it's just going to be a lot of, if you like watching like making videos, packing videos, there's going to be a lot of that coming up. And yeah, I hope you enjoy me watching me do my watercolors, because they always take some time, you know, to film and then edit. So it's nice to see them, like, because obviously for me it's a lot slower. For you get to see like the beginning and the end all in one video. But anyway, I'm rambling. I'm tired. All right then, I will see you all next week. Bye.